Okay, hello, I'm Sandro Carrara from Polytechnical School in Lausanne, and now I'm here today to provide you this course, which is provided within the frame of the doctoral school in electronics and communication of Politecnico di Torino. And the course is named Bio CMOS Interfaces and Co-Design. So the big motivation of the course is that, of course, we would like to develop new class, if you want, of diagnostic devices. You probably heard or have seen several very important diagnostics tools, like, for example, the famous Affymetrix station for measuring high-throughput DNA detection. They are extremely powerful. They can help us to, for example, code the DNA genome of humans, but they are typically still very costly machinery. They are bulky. So as you can see in this photo, they are still lab equipments. And even the cost for each single array is still high. In this case, we are on the order of $1,000 each assay. On the other side, we have the extremely low-cost technologies typically used for glucose detection. In this photograph, we have one of out of many systems that you can find in any pharma shop. And they are used for measuring the glucose content directly into the blood. In opposite of the first techniques, which is a label, so it also has a kind of complex sample preparation. The second techniques, the glucose measurements, is direct label-free technology. The machinery is extremely cheap. With $50 or 50 euros, you can buy the reader, and the production cost, that's not actually the cost the patients pay in the pharma shop, but the production cost of each single strip is below 5 cents, so an extremely low-cost technology. So the idea, the worldwide effort, which is running now, is try to develop new kind of technology in order to bring in our hands also complex detection method, like, for example, the Affymetrix one. At the same time, we also try now to transfer everything on mobile. You know, there are apps for several things in our daily life, and it is already started, this idea, to develop also diagnostic tools to transform our mobile phone in personal Medicare or Medi-diagnostics tool. So, for example, in this photograph, you can see a quite new device developed a couple of years ago, entered the market a couple of years ago. As you can see in the photograph, we have here below, we have the system that is a small box that you have to attach to the iPhone, and this device transforms the iPhone in a glucometer. There is, of course, an issue about the security, privacy, and the possibility to have, let's say, approved the use of a mobile phone as a diagnostic device. But out of that, technologically speaking, it's possible to bring in our mobile phone the glucose measurements. More in general, there is a worldwide effort in trying to develop a lot of technologies in order to bring us, both as a patients, but even in our healthy period of our life, in connection with the Medicare system through internet. So you can see in this cartoon, thanks to a courtesy by Hugo de Man in IMEC, that we can imagine to have all around our body several kind of sensors, both surface sensor, I don't know, for ECG or EEG, but also implanted sensor to measure toxin, DNA, glucose, and whatever other metabolites. And then, thanks to a connectivity of all these individual sensors to the internet, we can imagine to have even the patients continuously remoted in the moment which is at home or which is in his normal life. Of course, this vision stay on the fact to have all the sensors and the biosensor we need in order to acquire data. And of course, for doing that, we need to play with what we can call it the interface between our electronics, our CMOS systems, and our body, in some extent, a biological sample. So the interface is typically need to host, of course, also some specific molecules, because typically we need to detect some specific molecule in our body. Let us imagine the example of the glucose. But that means we need to have in our interface some other specific molecule that can get in interaction specifically with our target molecule we would like to measure. And then, of course, we need to acquire, to be able to measure any electrical signal coming from the interaction between our probe molecules that are typically immobilized in our interface and our target molecule, the object of our detection. The bad news in this field is that, unfortunately, we also have a lot of non-specific signals, so a lot of similar signals that are coming from the interface, but that are not, which are not exactly related to the specific interaction between our target molecules and our probe molecules that we are using to address specificity. So if you like, the aim of this course is try to see how we can introduce in the electrochemical interface some further molecules that can depress, that can diminish the non-specific signals, and eventually also introduce some other molecules that can indeed increase the specific signals, because of course we need to increase the signal to noise ratio, and all the non-specific signals we can just consider noise, though in some cases they are really making a lot of problem in a specific detection. Of course, in order to provide autonomous system and to provide easy to use system and to provide especially low cost devices, we need to develop the related electronics as much closer we can to our interface. And this, if you like, drive us to a new concept, the co-design of the bio, the nano, and the CMOS layer in our system. So the system can be thought now on as our electronics plus series of nanoscale molecule or structures we can use to have the right electrical properties in the interface, and of course the bio layer that addresses the specificity. I also published 3 years ago a book on this field of the co-design, and the course that we will, this course is mainly based on this book. So if you are interested, you can have a look of the book, and especially the first chapters, 1, 2, and 4 are dedicated to the specific interaction, molecular interaction that can be exploited in our bio interface in order to develop specific sensors. The chapter 5 and 6 are dedicated how to improve the quality of the interface, especially related to the non-specific signals. The chapter 8 is indeed dedicated to how to use nanotechnology to improve the specific ones. And the last chapter, 7, 9, and 10, are dedicated to specific electronics we can especially design in order to address the needs to develop this kind of biosensory interfaces. The course is then split in several lectures that follow this bio/nano/CMOS divide. So we will have a series of 4 lectures on the biological molecules we can use typically to provide specificity, and we will have occasion to see how molecule can provide specific interactions that we can exploit in order to have detection principle to be used in our electronic systems. Then we will have 3 lectures that are mainly dedicated how to immobilize this molecule in our electrochemical interfaces, and how to let them to play at best in order to provide us the best possible signals. And then the third part of the course will be on how to realize the electronics we need in order to provide, for example, metabolite detection with fixed voltages or with scanning voltages, how to provide DNA detection, and the last lecture will be how to develop a multi-panel system to provide implantable devices, just to follow the idea we have seen to develop a fully connected patients with respect to our Medicare.